And we're live.
Hi, Jen. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Andrea. How are you?
I'm good. I am good. A busy
Interesting.
day, but I am good.
Oh, busy doesn't even begin to describe it.
Good problem to have.
Yeah, yeah, good problem to have. Not really a problem anyway, but
Just busy. I get
just
that.
busy. Yeah, yeah. Some days life just comes at you like, and then
Yeah.
others you're able to breathe and just flow. But
Hope you guys are good.
yeah, so
Let me start
we're
with you. What are you grateful for?
Woo! What am I grateful for? I'm grateful for so many things. Well, let me just pick one. Yesterday was a really good day at church.
Yeah.
It was a really. Yesterday, for context, guys, we had Friends and Family Day, and church was full. And as always, we fellowshipped afterwards, but there was lots of good food, lots of good company, and I'm just grateful for community. I think that's the word. I'm grateful for community. Um, where you feel a part of the body and serving people and, just connecting with people. I really enjoyed that. Yeah. What are you grateful for?
Yeah, he was, I mean, I'll talk about that too. Um, I'm grateful for just the opportunity for myself and for others to just have a space where we can connect, pause, stop. And it's not just pausing, like just going to your bed and doing nothing or just sitting down and doing nothing, but just the atmosphere of worship and what it does for you and being in that space, Jan. Even just sitting beside someone who gives you a smile,
Yeah.
just the opportunity to have that break from the normal routine. Um, I think in Jamaica and anywhere that you have that facility where you have a church community, you have persons that you don't have to like them, but you have to love them, but you have that space. It's something that we have to be grateful for because we see where in some places it's not allowed. You can't really talk about Jesus. We have so many churches per square foot in Jamaica, and we have lots of issues, you know, with our church, but it is a place that everyone can go to when they need to. And I'm grateful for that in this nation and in my life.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. I'm grateful. So how was last week?
Last week was busy.
Last week was busy.
Last week was busy. It's actually a very busy season. It's coming up to this year just started on a bang. Like
Yeah.
this year just started with COVID key. We have some catching up to do. So
Yep.
this year just it started on a bang. So yeah, it was a busy year, but I'm not busy week. It was productive. I think when you look back and you can account for, things that you check off, things that you've done, that's a beautiful thing to recall. So for me, it was a very productive week.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that.
Excellent. And I guess I can just say ditto. It's a busy season. It's
Yeah.
definitely a busy. Um, so we're continuing to talk about a plan that works.
A plan that
Yeah,
works.
yeah, yeah. So what are we
And
talking
we're
about?
very clear about which plan works, right? We're not mincing it, we're not hiding it. It's just what it is. There is
Yeah,
just one plan that works. That
yeah.
works.
Fine. So
Just
this week we're going to talk about stoppers and blockers. What stops you from stepping into that plan that God has for you? What
boy.
are, what stops you? Sometimes people say, well, I don't know. What's his plan? Or somebody says, well, he kind of told me, or I kind of get an inkling, but I don't know if it's for me. I don't know if I can do it. It just seems bigger than me. I'm afraid, or I'm a fraud. I can't do it. Whatever. These are
Yeah.
the things that stop us. So, Andrea, kick us off.
I
Um,
mean, oh my gosh, like it's the things that have stopped in the past, the things that are stopping us right now. Every the stoppers and blockers really don't disappear in life. Let me just start there. So I
mm,
think it's just so important for us to highlight it as well as to know how to overcome them, because as you overcome one, there's going to be another one. Gravity is always pulling us down, right?
yeah,
So if
yeah,
you think
yeah,
of it that way, there's always going to be something that's going to try to block you, something that's going to try to stop you from flowing. What are we stopping and blocking from? We're talking about pursuing and fulfilling God's will. Taking the
yeah.
steps that you need to take now. Doing what you need to do to be a better, a healthy, person, to make some of the changes and adjustments that we've spoken about for the past couple of weeks. And, you may know this is you, but my gosh, it's just so hard. So I kind of break it up into two categories, Jan. I look at the internal, what I call stoppers, because they stop the flow of what is inside of you. And then I look at the external, or better yet, I'll call them internal blockers. They're blocking the flow. And then I'll say the external stoppers. Um,
Mhm.
so let's start with the internal, and a lot of them we know. One major block for us is being separated by God, from God. Um,
Mm,
not yet accepting Christ as Lord and Savior. It already blocks some of the rewards, the benefits, the privileges, that are available through Christ Jesus. It's until you get salvation, you can't get kingdom. One follows the other. And a lot of what we're looking for and hoping for and seeking for is wrapped up in the kingdom of God. And so one of
mm,
the first blockers will be, salvation, whether it is an unbelief, whether it is a delay in making the decision you want to make. Sometimes you talk to people and they say, I know, I'm going to give my life for them, but we're not ready yet. Waiting for the right moment. Well, that will always be a blocker in terms of your ability um, to access what is available to you and to access all the promises that we see in the Bible, right? There is a prerequisite.
And before you even go further with that, this idea that you're not ready, or you feel like you have to attain some level of something before you're ready. We've been taught that it's almost like becoming a Christian is some spiritual outer body experience. It's not. It's a decision. It's as simple. It's a decision that I am choosing to believe that Christ died to take away my sins, and it's a decision that you make, and it's not that you're going to be hit with the genie is going to come out of the bottle and go pew, and you. you suddenly become a good person. It's a process, guys. It's a process, and think of it like um, peeling an onion. There are layers to it, and all of us as Christians, even now, we're going through the layers. But we made a decision. You
To
made a
start
decision
healing.
to start peeling the onion.
Yeah, to
And you know,
start.
if since we're using the onion analogy, you know, when you're peeling onion, your eyes running water, and it's some of that going to happen sometimes, guys. It's gonna happen, but you know,
The
the fact is
flavor that comes from the
that
onion.
flavor that comes from the onion, everything about it, you are just wrapped up in growth. It's like you're going to the heart of something, the heart of who you really are as an
Yeah.
individual, you know. Um, and so I just had to jump in and say, when you talked about, oh, I'm not ready, I'm like, you know, guys, it's not some hairy fairy thing. It's as simple as a decision. That's what it is.
And guess what, Jan? The next good news is there's nothing you can do to qualify yourself for it.
Absolutely nothing.
It is entirely on merit, entirely a gift. It's a gift from God. And so all that is required from us is that we accept the gift and we accept the terms. Just like when you sign a contract, you accept the terms of the agreement because it operates within a context that is meant to protect us and to safeguard what is our inheritance. And so you would want to adhere to the terms. But the point is, there's nothing you can do. So you don't have to fix up yourself. You come as you are. You don't have to wait. You don't have to delay. Right? So I'm encouraging you guys, if you are already there, almost there, don't let another moment miss you. Because that's the first block.
That's the first block, you
That's
know.
the first block. And so now we'll move on to the other blocks. And whether you're a Christian or not, these blocks are some serious ones that we contemplate every single day and fight with. Let's start with the top one, the mind, Jan. The mindsets. Oh my gosh, the thoughts
Yeah,
that we choose to agree with. We've
yeah.
been talking a lot about the power of agreement, the suggestions that the enemy will plant in our minds, and we just grab at it, and we run with it. And then that now just totally blocks us up. Not only does it blocks the blessings and the help from coming in, but it puts us in such a negative state
Yeah,
that we ourselves make the situation worse for ourselves.
yeah.
It's like, when you get to that place where you're panicking or you're fearful, you can't think straight. You're messing up everything. You're talking to people and you're snapping left, right, and center. You just know everything goes off. And trust me, the mind, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So once you allow the mind to become your block, right? And once you allow the enemy to use your mind to block you, then it just messes up everything else that flows.
You know, for clarity, I just want to make sure that everybody gets it, right? So I'll separate everything that you just said into maybe two. So there's one, as it relates to the mind, the lies that you believe about yourself, the ones that tell you that, boy, you think over and over again, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not qualified enough, I'm not tall enough, short enough, brown enough, whatever, every story in your head that you tell yourself. I'm not confident enough, I'm not this, all of these things. These are lies that you've come into agreement with, right? And you entertain them. You entertain them. And there are also the lies that other people tell you that you believe. There are those lies that other people tell you. Everything boils down to lies at the end of the day. If it doesn't line up with what God's word say about you, it's a lie. If it doesn't line up, it's a lie. And so the question is, stop and think. Just sort of just pay attention to your thoughts over the next couple of days. Am I thinking thoughts that align with what God says about me, or am I thinking negative thoughts? Am I thinking thoughts that whatever, I'm not good enough, or I don't know enough, or I'm not qualified, or I'm not from the right background, or all of those things? Or, my mother said I would never amount to anything, or some work, God forbid, some teacher says, you'll never achieve anything. All of these things that at the heart of what you do, those are the things that cause you to self-sabotage. That those are the things that cause you to say no. Opportunities come, which is meant to carry you in the direction, and these are the things that cause it to go, and you just stop. One of my big blockers in that area was, I was like, people are going to ask, who is she? What does she know? What's her claim to fame? And let me tell you, I'm not saying all of this as like, oh, it's easy. It was not easy, because the thing had me in a grip for months. For months. I'm not hearing you, Andrea. You muted?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, hush. I said it's still not easy now.
Yeah. It's not. It's not. But I'm more aware of truth versus lie, so I can reject the lie much easier because I'm aware. And we've talked about the whole thing of becoming aware. Um, but these things really, really stop you from stepping into what is yours.
It stops you immediately,
Yeah.
because um, good and bad, sweet and bitter can't flow simultaneously. It's
Hmm.
one or the other. And it's almost like if we take every minute and every moment as a valuable minute or moment as itself, you can't recover what goes. And so
Yeah.
every minute, every moment matters. And the question is, do you put yourself in a position to progress, or would you put yourself in a position to be procrastinated or to be held back? And if we start realizing that every moment matters, then we will now probably be able to be intentional about, okay, am I allowing positive to flow now, or am I embracing something that is negative?
Yeah.
And these are choices that we have to make every single day, every single moment, at every single
Mm.
crossroad. We have to do it consciously, because it is so easy. In fact, it is our default to skew to the side of not taking action, giving in to fear, hesitating, procrastinating, delaying. It is natural for us to do that. Side on go on the side of caution when it's really fear. We say it's caution, but most time it's fear. And that moment misses us. Other moments will come, yes, but you don't want your moments and opportunities to be slipping by. You actually want to grow when you can. You want to be better when you can. It's not a later thing. You want to do it now. And it's important that we recognize these blockers that are there, and in the moment to make those decisions, even to go against what is natural, go
Yeah.
against what we're feeling, because we know it is good for us. We know it is the best thing to do. We know it is right to do.
Yeah. And as you talk about that, one very powerful thing that can actually work against you is your emotions. When your emotions take over and everything becomes something that you react to versus respond to, it just stops you. It stops you in your track. And what you start to do after that is that you start to justify the behavior. You justify
Yeah.
the procrastination. You justify the lack of taking a step, and you justify everything. But in the justification, I want you to know that you stay right where you are.
You don't move,
You
go
go
nowhere.
nowhere. You go nowhere. And you are watching people around you, and you're going, why am I not progressing? Boy, and especially now in this age of social media, where we see people doing stuff and all that kind of stuff, and you say, "Oh, boy, she bravey, she can do all of this thingy. I mean, oh my gosh." and not realizing that you have that thing inside of you.
Yeah,
You
you
have
have that
this,
moment too. But yeah.
yeah. But when the moment comes, you say, well, I'll have to use wisdom. I'm going to, my favorite one is, I'm a practical person and it needs to make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, I'm not doing it. Right? And all the while, opportunities pass you because really and truly, those just boil down to excuses.
I
That's
mean,
what
they're
they
excuses and they're rooted in fear. Because in theory, those are wise things.
Yeah,
You do things measured, you reason it out, you apply wisdom. But most of the time when we quote it, it's not because of wisdom and practicality.
no, no, no,
It's
no.
because of fear.
It's because of fear. Fear stops you, and fear tells you all kind of stories
Yeah.
that you entertain, and once you entertain it, you start to justify it.
You build a whole structure around it and
Yeah,
you live in it. It feels right also, and you are just totally blind at that point in time. It's crazy, Jan.
yeah.
Just
And
giving
then
in.
you look at other people and say, oh, they're so lucky. No, they chose to take action.
That shows to
And
take
every
it.
day, literally every day, you have to get up and choose to take
Yeah,
action.
yeah. And guess
Yes.
what? Even if the choice is not doesn't work out to be the best outcome, or what you hoped, you don't lose because every step you take, everything that you try is a learning experience. Because if it doesn't work the way you try, you've learned, don't do it that way, right?
Exactly.
And that's one less option that you will take the next time around. So you really, really don't lose anything by trying. So take the measured steps when you know deep within that it's really fair that's holding you back, and something is good and you're doing it the right way and you're applying the principles to it. Take the step, be bold,
Yeah.
be bold.
What are some of the stories? What are some of the things you tell yourself about why you can't do some stuff? Put it in the comments and let us know what are some of the things you tell yourself, or what are the things that stop you from achieving, from walking into that plan that was created for you. Let us know.
So we just do the mind. If we're
Yeah.
coming down, we can also say some of the things that block us. Don't have to go very far. We can just go to the eyesight, how we see things, how we
Mm,
perceive things, and that works in tandem with the mind. Because if you're seeing something as being disastrous and a death sentence, if you're thinking that, then you're going to begin to see it. As it says, a man thinks, so is he. So what you think, now you begin to see. But outside of your thoughts, generally how you see things and see life and how you process things,
yeah.
um, you see something playing out, you just assume the worst situation. You call the worst outcome rather than being positive, rather than being faithful, rather than being optimistic about it, rather than trusting God in the process. You've already spoken negatively and doomed the situation. So, how we see things is a big block, right? Because we respond to what we see,
Hmm. Hmm.
or our sight guides our feet. So,
Yeah.
how we look at things, what we see, what we're looking for, and how we entertain ourselves with our eyes
Yeah.
also.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah,
That's a big one.
that's a huge one. We don't recognize how much we are blocking up ourselves by just sucking up junk in such large quantities, right?
You
I
know.
understand times of entertainment, but
Hmm.
some people are addicted like ours,
Yeah.
Jan, just sucking
Yeah.
up stuff that's not edifying them, and they don't realize the danger of it. Sorry
Yeah.
about that. Go ahead.
No, man, it's fine. I just keep thinking back to all the little things you learn when you're growing up. You know that song, watch your eyes, what they see. Just all of these things were really just meant to cause us to stop and to think. Whatever you focus on becomes larger in your life. Whatever. That's just a principle of life. It's a scientific principle, if I'm not mistaken. That
It is.
whatever you focus on becomes larger. So
Thanks. Yeah.
there is. I read something this week that says something like 95% of the things you worry about never happen.
Yeah.
Can you imagine you spend 95% of your time worrying about something that never ever happens, and you worry so much that you don't take action?
Yeah. 95% of your time not doing what you could be doing to progress.
Yeah,
95% of the time not being happy and at peace.
yeah. Because you're so busy worrying about what if. I remember there was a time in my life where I would say, you know what? Um, I'm a realist. Let me just protect myself. I just jump to what's the worst case scenario and I prepare myself. Oh, boy, I tell
And the
you,
worst case often happens
boy, I mean,
because you speak it into being. You are now
what you say is
literally,
what you get.
exactly, you're guiding yourself towards that outcome.
Yes.
You've told people have a way when I talk about what you tell the universe. I mean, in principle, it's very much so the law of attraction. You know, you send those signals out. You are energy. You send those energy signals out. And so if you're sending out signals of a negative outcome, you're posturing for the negative outcome. What do you think is going to happen?
Like
That's what you're
attracts
seeing at
like.
once.
Like attracts like. So,
Like attracts like. You know, so these are some of the things. So that's the eyes. So the same thing applies to the ears because it's also a gate. You know what you're listening to, you know what you allow yourself to come into your thoughts by choosing to be in certain settings and environments. That's also blocking flow, right? And then again, if you are around gossiping, if you are around people who criticize a lot, listen, who you're in close proximity to rubs off on you.
okay, so I'm the one with the sayings this evening. That says, show me your company, and I'll tell you who you are. Right? That's one, and the other one is you are. I think they say you're the average of the five people around you. So if
Yeah.
those people around you are not progressing, not going anywhere, chances are you're not going anywhere either. You're not taking steps of faith, because like attracts like.
Yeah, yeah. And there's no denying it. Proximity produces influence.
Yeah.
And if you're not consciously making a decision, whether it is to limit your time, because we're not saying you only must have friends that, lift you up. You must have a mix of friends. But you have to be very strategic in terms of how much of my time do I
Mhm.
spend in certain settings, especially if you know they are not progressive and they tend to be, whether it's conversations, attitudes that
Mhm.
are not aligned with someone who is progressive. You have to be intentional about limiting those times.
Yeah. You
You know.
have to be. You have to
Yeah.
be. What's next?
So we're coming down. Same thing with the mouth, but let's go to the heart.
Mm.
Right. So let's go to the heart. Oh my God, the heart. The heart is a huge block. Let's start with unforgiveness.
Mm. Oh.
I
Ooh.
went I went there.
Went there. You just went for the jugular.
Oh my gosh. It's guys, unforgiveness is equivalent to you drinking poison,
And
hoping that
hoping
the
that
other
the other
person
person is
suffers.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. It is one of the biggest traps and tricks that the enemy has over us as human beings. The spirit of offense, and then we take the offense into this place of unforgiveness, having people up, right? And all we do is block ourselves up from God's flow. We block our lives up from positive energy. We block our prayers, right? Because you cannot come before the throne of grace with dirty hands and you don't clean up yourself before you go in there. So as long as you're harboring the unforgiveness, as long as you're having any form of ill feelings that you haven't confessed and you're not willing to let go, that's a major block.
Major, major block.
And we know what God looks at. Man looks at the outside and
But
God sees
look,
the heart.
yeah, what's going on there?
What's going on in your hearts, guys?
And it doesn't matter, to be very honest. Let me tell you something about forgiveness. Forgiveness is more for you than the other person. Because you are the only person who can do something about you. So, which means that no matter how much you hate on somebody or have somebody, you can't make them do anything. The only person you can change is yourself. And so, therefore, forgiveness lies within your court. And
Mhm.
so, I took this stance a couple of years ago where I would rather forgive somebody so quick, so fast, because I have this thought that nothing, I'm not going to willingly have anything between me and God. That's my stance. So I forgive very quickly. I just like, okay, nothing is worth that relationship. Nothing. It's
Yeah.
too precious. So listen, no offense is worth that. And so
And yeah.
because of that, I've learned, and I had to learn, and I had some really tough lessons in forgiveness along the way. But I've learned, believe you me. And it's freeing when you let it go.
You spoke about emotions earlier, Jan.
Yeah.
You know, I always like to zoom in so that we can get even more real. When people offend us, we know, we feel it, it's hurt. There is a natural response that comes up for revenge to get back at,
Mm-hmm.
to hurt you back. It is a very natural response. So,
Mm-hmm.
first of all, you have to accept the fact that the feeling is going to come. It's not a case that the feelings don't come. Maybe
It was
after a
good.
while, when you walk in that kind of forgiving spirit, it's not, it doesn't hit you immediately. But initially, let me tell you, it's a decision that you have to make every time an incident happens. Someone does something to offend you, someone does something that seems vindictive, malicious, whatever it is, intentional or otherwise, it doesn't matter, right? You still have the choice of whether or not you're going to take the offense and whether or not you're going to allow this offense now to consume you and take charge of your emotions. Because again, you tell yourself, and once you tell yourself, you start feeling it, then you start responding differently. Then your body starts responding to a threat. All of
Yeah.
a sudden, you're in war mode. You're supposed to be in growth mode, because God have a nice plan for you for growth. And you're now caught up in the trap of offense and unforgiveness and missing missing out on what God has planned. So the reason why I want to say this is because it's a trap.
It's
It
a
is a trap. And if we don't recognize the trap, it's not going to be easy to walk away from it.
yeah. 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 And you know what was very interesting about this is that, listen, you see, unforgiveness, you can feel justified in it. You feel justified because how dare they? Imagine, say, all the stories you could tell, no matter what the situation is. At the end of the day, you have to just ask yourself, is this worth that plan that works? If God says He has a plan for me, the question boils down to, is it worth me giving up this plan?
Right.
Whatever
Or this
the
moment.
offense, yeah, is it worth it? Because in my mind, it's chalk and cheese.
It
Yeah.
is.
As a matter of fact, it just doesn't compare.
It doesn't. It's just a pleasure you get in the moment. So, okay, you get back at the person, you trace them off, you do whatever you need to do. That's it. What else are you gonna get from that? That's it. As opposed to if you swallow the pride in that moment, you forgive Jan, you may end up not just giving yourself a lighter head, a peaceful body, but you may end up restoring the other person too. And all the people looking on are seeing a good person, a good character, and everything else rose from that.
But I will tell this
And the
story.
peace of mind, as Trisha says, yes.
I will tell you the story of there was one time somebody did me something and I was so upset about it. And every night for 3 months, I'd go to my bed and have a dream of God telling me to forgive the person. And every morning I'd get up and say, no, God, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. So can you imagine now 3 months of sleepless nights? Sleepless nights, because I'm not sleeping, become upset.
Yeah, you
And,
can
and, I
have
have,
peace.
and I have unforgiveness in my heart, right? 3 months I lost sleep over this foolishness until the morning I got up and I said, okay, God, I'll forgive her. And I forgave her. I picked up the phone and I called her the day. And let me tell you, this little night I went to my bed, I slept like a baby. I slept like a baby and I've not had that dream since. It was such a, and I look and I said, my God, I gave away 3 months over
3 months.
foolishness. 3 months. I
Yeah.
kid you not.
Yeah.
3 months. 3 months.
For some of us, it's years, Jen.
Years, that's my
Years
thing.
upon years.
But we're not
Whether it's
we're not associating the sleepless night, nor are we associating the stress in our body or the sickness in our body. Do you know those things can actually cause physical illnesses? Right? You're not associating all of those things with your choice to hold on to something. It's blocking you. Imagine you blocking your own way.
yeah,
Talking
self-sabotage.
about, yeah, you are blocking your own way because you are refusing to forgive or refusing to let go of something. Come on, guys.
And
Listen.
then don't forget the headache, right? That will come from it. Don't forget the bitterness, the guilty feeling, right? Everybody in your house not at peace with you because when you going on with something on the inside, fire spewing out and smoke spewing out in your environment. So not only you're affected, but the people who are around you are also affected, right? As Trisha said, high blood pressure.
High
It's a
blood
serious
pressure is
thing. You're complaining, you're murmuring and mumbling. You find that you're more miserable. So many things. And we don't stop to think about it, Jan, and realize, hold on, this is not worth it.
not worth it at
It's just not
all.
worth it. Let me forgive, even if they did it intentionally, even if I knew it was intentional. Forgive because once you harbor that unforgiveness, it's going to affect you.
And let me tell you something else about forgiveness. Sometimes you might say, I forgive, and then by the end of the day, you're back into the thought process. Listen, forgive as many times as you need to until it just becomes a
Goes.
lifestyle. It whatever it is goes away. Just
Repeat.
when you just find yourself thinking the thing, just keep saying, Lord, I forgive them. I forgive. Just keep doing it. You don't even have to tell the person, quite frankly. Just forgive. Let it go. Let
Yep.
it go. Come out
Your
of your own
remorse in
way.
your heart.
Yes, come out of your way. You are blocking you. Yeah, that's
Yep.
a serious one there, man.
So that's one, but there are other things that we harbor in our hearts. We're not gonna go through the many things, but you can think about it. Apart from unforgiveness, um, um, even lust, even lust, Jan, even associating with someone and claiming someone is yours, though God never tell you so. Morning, noon, and night, you're just caught up with this someone. And God might be sending the right person side of you, But you're not going to see them because you're caught up with somebody else. right? And basically, what it means is have nothing on your heart. Wait for God to bless you. Wait for God to give you what needs to be there. Don't assume, right? Don't go ahead, because once you fill the space, then something else can't occupy the space.
You're
And if the
blocking
space is
yourself.
not yours, then they are now taking up the space of someone and making you occupied and unavailable.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're sabotaging your own future and your own hope again because you are filling your gap.
Yeah. Yep.
So those are the hard things, guys. And there are more. But anything that you end up harboring in your heart that has a negative effect on you, that's a red flag. And you know you have to release it. Start by prayer, you know, and do what you need to do to get it out of you. So those are the heart infections. We talk about fears also. Fears will be both in your mind and in your heart. Especially scares. You've gone through stuff in the past. You've had some hurts in the past, Jan, some really rough moments, and you don't want repeats. You don't want to experience those things again. And because of that, you literally have this shutdown. You're shutting out anything that looks like it. You're shutting out anything that you're not certain of. But guess what? Your answer and your opportunity is going to look the same way. And if you shut it down and you shut down anything that comes your way, you're not just shutting out the bad, you're also going to shut out the good.
Good. Yeah. 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 Absolutely. Absolutely.
So take faith steps, but you take wise steps and measured steps. Apply principles rather than make conclusions and using your past to project into your current and your future. Use principles, learn from the lessons of the past, but don't assume that your past is your present. Because
Mm-hmm.
once you do that, you are blocking your present and your future.
Yep. Yeah.
So, those are some of the internal ones. But we also have some external blockage.
Yep.
So, I call these stoppage.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Lack of knowledge.
Ooh, that for sure is one.
That's gonna stop any flow and growth. If you don't take responsibility to learn what you need to learn, right? And the first thing you need to learn about is the kingdom of God. Like, seriously, right? You were made in the image of God. One of the first questions we need answered is, what does that mean? What does it mean to be in the image of God? Why was I created? Right? If you miss that important knowledge, we miss a lot of it, because I've been there. It's not, I mean, I never just know about God a long time. What if of time wasting go on
Yep.
because of that lack of knowledge? But now that I understand how much you get from just pursuing knowledge, I have to encourage you, take the time, make the effort, seek out the knowledge that's relevant for
Yeah.
life.
Mm-hmm. Seek ye first the
Seek ye
kingdom
first
of
the
God
kingdom and all his
and
righteousness,
all of his righteousness. Yeah.
and all other things will be
You've got
added.
you've got to, this thing I always talk about it. This thing of we love to treat God like a genie. And so we just waiting on God. We're thinking that we have no part to play. And so we just sit down and say, well, I'm waiting on God. Very holy. I'm waiting on God, sister, waiting on God. No, God is waiting on you. God says without faith, it's impossible to please God. And faith without works is dead. So you have to get up and move. You have to take a step. So if that step is going to seek out knowledge and learn more, listen, we live in an amazing age, right? Where You have YouTube, you have the internet. Listen, when you remember we were talking about we had to go into encyclopedias and all that kind of stuff. No, you can Google it and you
The
hear people like
library.
Andrea and myself talking about all of these different things. We have no excuse. You know, when the word says that my people perish for lack of knowledge, we are perishing by choice
Yeah.
because the
By
knowledge is
choice.
available. It's available, you know. So
And
that's
we have people. So like even
yeah,
this is a knowledge center. It should whet your appetite to say, hold on, yeah, for real, I need to get more information on this. I need to research some more on this. I need to make some decisions, but I need to inform my decisions. So it should spur you guys to pursue more and to seek more knowledge so that you will be wiser, you'll be able to make sound decisions, and that you will progress.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What's the next one?
Destiny partners.
Ooh, that keeps coming up.
That keeps coming up.
What's
On a
a destiny
blocker and
partner?
a stopper. Eh?
What's a destiny partner?
Your destiny partners are the people that God places in your life for some seasons, for some reasons, some maybe for lifetime, but they basically help you pursue your purpose and help you accomplish your purpose. So the fact that they're there for a purpose signals to you that there are certain foundations and similarities that must exist for you to have a destiny partner, right? They must be of the same mindset. They must be of the same kind. You must be going or eyeing the same kind of destination. You must have the same kind of allegiance, all of these things, because whoever you partner with, you say partnerships, you say that
Mm-hmm.
word ship,
Mm-hmm.
it takes you
Determines where
somewhere.
where you're going. Yeah.
Ship takes you somewhere. So whoever you have is as a partner is taking you somewhere. Be
Yeah.
sure that where they are taking you is where you want to go.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to be sure.
You have to be sure. And two, so the stopper here is telling yourself that, well, I don't need anyone. Or telling yourself that, I can do this by myself. I don't need people. I don't need people. It's a lie, people.
Yeah.
It's a lie.
Or saying that you don't need people, like what PC was talking about on Sunday. Like
Yeah.
you cannot accomplish your goals and purpose by yourself. You need people.
You need people. So a bit of it is pride. A bit of it is self-preservation. A bit of it is having your past. Maybe you've had a situation in the past where you've had a bad experience and now you're making it dictate your present and your future. And it just stops you. It stops you from going in the direction that you need to go into. And it could be that, where you're supposed to, um, be with other people. You say, well, no, people can't be trusted. People can't be this. Better stay by myself. And you're wondering, well, God, please. And he's saying, well, I sent Andrea. No, 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 not Andrea. No, 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 no.
Mm.
Right? And at the end of the day, all you're doing is you're just boxing yourself in
And stopping the flow and your
and stopping
progress.
the flow. You know, um, the whole thing of the flow has to be, there has to be no stoppages and blockages for the flow. Pastor Charlene from Go for God gave an example last week about a drain pipe that was blocked in her kitchen. And when the plumber finally discovered that there was a tree root that was going through the pipe and blocking the flow. So no matter what they did from the top, nothing could go down because the pipe was blocked. And that's what we're talking about. We're actually supposed to be a pipe. but it have to clean. And things, all the things that we're talking about, the unforgiveness, the fear, everything just blocks the flow. There needs
The
to be a flow.
mindset.
Yes, there needs to be a flow. So I would encourage you really to just look into your life and think about what are the things that I'm afraid of. What are the things that I worry about? Is there unforgiveness in my life? Am I stopping myself by keeping myself to myself? You know, what am I doing? So here you are sitting down saying, well, God is doing nothing for me. But you are blocking yourself in with all of these things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You
It's
are
not
cutting yourself off from what God is doing because He's always doing something for us.
right. You're cutting yourself off. Yeah, absolutely.
So Trisha said definitely pride, and I as I read her message, survival mode. Jan, could we just explain what pride is? Because a lot of times we just think pride is show off,
Oh,
or or somebody going on bumptious in a certain way. But pride is such a subtle,
yeah, it is subtle. It is subtle.
so
So, well,
subtle.
my mother taught me not to ask people for anything. Or,
Oh, I don't want them. I don't want them to think that I am in need or that I
yeah,
need help. You need help, you know.
yeah.
I don't want anybody to think I'm in help.
Yeah. So you'd rather stay over here and fight with something, fight with something, fight with something, and rather than just ask for help. So it's doing
Yeah.
little things like just asking for help. Pride
I
comes
don't.
at you
Yeah.
where you are thinking, well, I'm different from them.
Yes.
And so I'll just stay in the lane with the people that I'm similar to. I'm different.
Yeah. And watch them
Yeah.
make their mistakes.
Yes.
I'm just, gonna be over here. You know what pride is observing someone, whether it's your boss, your spouse, your children, your friends, and thinking in your heart, if it were me, I would do that so much better. Sometimes you don't even say it in a jam, but
Nope.
the thought is there that
Yeah.
you judged the people around you because you feel so you can do it better. That
Yeah.
is PRIDE,
Yeah.
straight up pride. And we
Yeah.
fall into that trap very, very often.
Very
Hence why
often.
we criticize, and we sit and we just watch people fall. That's what we desire for them to fall. But those are sinful. That's something
Yeah.
that the Lord had to shake me up about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pride is also being so self-aware and self-conscious, what people will think about me, how they will perceive me, and it seems so right. Everything that you will do to protect yourself from blatant stubbornness, but does even this, I'm quiet, I'm reserved, I don't like the attention, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
All pride.
All
And then
pride.
there's the opposite side, what we call what call that one? Kind
False
of like
humility.
false humility. Oh my
False
God.
humility.
I'm just a humble person. I'm just
Listen, if you have to tell somebody you're a humble person, you're not humble. I'm
I'm
just
just a
saying.
humble person. I'm just here to help. I'm really just here to help and to try to resolve this issue.
Oh,
Right?
no, no, no. I don't need that. No, no, no. I'm just.
But that's fine. That's good. I can manage this on my own. A lot of us do that to the spouses too.
Mhm.
I can
Yep.
manage. You can lift up the big box, but you might get vexed with him before, and you decide so you can manage the big box. Maybe you can, but that's not the point. The reason why you won't allow him to help you in that moment is because of pride.
No, well, here's the other side to that. There are some points at which that pride becomes so ingrained that you don't even recognize it as that because you're so caught up in the doing things for myself. This we grew up with this independent spirit.
Miss Independence.
Independent. I can do it all by myself. And then worse, I mean, now we're coming into a time where a girl will say, "Well, listen, I don't need whatever it is because I have my money, I have my this, I have that, I have everything. I can do this. I don't need anyone." You know, um, yeah,
Trap.
trap.
It's a trap.
It's a
It's
trap.
it's a, it's a trap, and you keep slipping further and further, and you feel justified. We keep talking about this. The way the trap is set up is that it just feels so right. It feels justified to do, right? And you don't realize that you are just sliding down the pride slope. But pride comes before a fall. You are going to fall eventually.
Yep.
There is
And it's
going to
also a lonely place. It's a lonely place.
Yeah, it's also a lonely place. You're
It's a
not being
lonely
true to
place.
yourself.
Because it doesn't allow you to connect with people. It's a very lonely place.
Very, very
You
lonely.
know? Yeah.
And if you don't realize, Jan, you know overcompensate for the loneliness. And then what will happen is you make work your life, you make your service organizations your life. You
Mm-hmm.
know, all of these things that now replace the interaction and the connection that you should be having with people, they now become the front and center. And that leads you into something else. So now pride now joins on to idolatry.
Yep.
So now you make these things the most important thing in your life, not even your family come first, right?
Mhm.
So now you're going into idolatry and you don't realize it.
Yeah. Absolutely. But so, guys, on a serious note, this year I would really like to hear all the testimonies, all the stories of when you decided to work the plan that works, to own the plan that works. But to do that, you have to become aware. And when you become aware, you're becoming aware of what the stoppers and blockers are. What are the things that are stopping you from stepping out into what you need to step out into? Guys, here's the other side of not stepping out. The other side of not stepping out is that, as we've said in other lives, that we were born to serve other people, whether it is to bring joy, to bring solutions. And when you are stopped or blocked, there are people who have lost their way. There are people who don't have solutions because you have chosen to block the flow. So there are people waiting for you. There are people waiting for you to start that business. There are people waiting for you to make that thing. There are people waiting for you to do what you're called to do what you've been gifted to do, you know? So it's not about, as we said, it's never about you. Your calling, that plan is never about you. It's always about what you do for others, right? And so it becomes a whole circular economy kind of thing where I do for you, you do for somebody else does for me, and it just keeps going, and that's how we keep it going. But when there's a block up, what will happen is that the flow is interrupted, and the flow gives way to sickness, the flow gives way to poverty, the flow gives way um, to chaos and mayhem. The flow gives way when you don't step
In,
up. You
injustice.
injustice, it gives way to all of those things. So if you're called to be a doctor, a scientist, can you imagine if all of those scientists and those doctors decided that, well, um, no, I'm not about that life. I don't want to do that. But they were gifted to do that. That could be an invention, that could be a solution to something you that could actually reside in you. But because of pride, because of unforgiveness, because of wrong beliefs, because of all
Mindset,
of the things, we've stopped the flow.
lack of knowledge.
lack of knowledge. We all of these things, we just stop the flow. So the question is, after having heard this conversation, what will you do? Do you need to forgive somebody? Do you need to repent of pride and unforgiveness? Do you need to forgive? What do you need to do? This is one of those lives that requires an action on your part. It requires for you to spend a good time just looking into yourself and examining things, especially if you're saying, God, I've been waiting, stop and say, well, hold on to God. Am I the one who is blocking the flow?
Yeah.
Am I the one who is stopping this thing? Could it be that I am the one who is in my way?
I'm the problem.
But you're also the solution.
Amen.
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 Thank
So
you so
take the
much.
action, guys. Paris.
Well, he's agreeing.
I guess she is.
She's agreeing. She's agreeing. She's agreeing. She's in agreement.
Guys, it was great having you join us again for another live. We will be back next week, this time, hopefully without Paris. Have a wonderful rest of the week.
Paris, you're taking too long now. Okay, guys. Thank you so much. And please remember, don't forget to like and subscribe over on YouTube and share and let anybody share this video with somebody who you think could benefit from it. Um, and as always, enough love and blessings from us. Have a great week. Bye.
Bye.